Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn about making decisions in Python. Just like in real life, we make decisions. For example, if we are hungry, we eat. If it's raining, we take an umbrella. Also in programming, our code, our program sometimes needs to make decisions. For example, this robot needs to make a decision based on the weather. If it's rainy, for example, it will take an umbrella. If it's sunny, it'll wear sunglasses. In Python, we use the if statement to make decisions. Imagine that we have a robot and its job is to water our plant. But we don't want the robot to water our plant all the time, for example, when if the soil is wet. We only want the robot to water the plant if the soil is dry. So in Python, the syntax is as follows. We have the if and then the condition with colons, and then with indentation, we have the code that needs to be run if the condition is true. For example, if soil is dry, if this is true, then Python will run all the code in this block. In this case, it will water the plant. Otherwise, it will do nothing. Quite simple. If a condition satisfies as true, then Python will run the code in the indentation in that if block. Now, how about the case? So in the previous example with only if, what happens is that if the condition is false, we don't have any code. If we want to also say, hey, if for example, if the soil is not dry, then do this other action, then in Python we can use the else statement. So what happens is Python first checks this condition. Condition is true. For example, in our example, if soil is dry, if it's dry, it will water the plant. Run this code. Else, meaning that meaning that the soil is not dry, it will do another action. For example, in this image, it will just throw thumbs up. This is also quite simple. So if a condition, then run this code. Else, if this condition fails, it will run this code. Now, sometimes we have more than two options. For example, imagine a customer that goes to a coffee shop and they can have different coffees, for example, latte, cappuccino. In this example, let's say that this coffee shop has only two coffee types, latte and cappuccino. What happens is that Python will first, as always, check the condition in the if. So again, so Python runs the code line by line. When it comes to this line, it will check this condition. If it's true, it will take this action, which is, let's say, if the order is latte, then it will make latte. And then we have this elif statement, elif statement, which will only be checked, only be run if the first condition was false. So if Python didn't enter this do action one, in that case, it will check this condition, second condition. For example, if order is cappuccino. If yes, if it's true, then it will make cappuccino. Else, basically, else is the default. Else, in this case, it will just give water. All right, enough with the theory. Let's open up our Jupyter notebooks and try these in real examples. All right, I've got my Jupyter notebook open. Let's learn about if statement in practice. All right, let's say we have the temperature variable and it's now 20 degrees. And here is our if statement. We say if temperature more than, let's say, 26, can make space to make our code more readable. Columns, and then if you tap enter, the IDE VS Code will already give us this indentation, so we don't need to worry about this. Let's print the weather is hot today. Wear shorts. All right. This is and let's run it. So we run the code. I'm going to run it again. You see nothing happened. This Python did not run this. And the reason is because the condition, which is here, temperature above 26, is false because temperature is 20. So Python did not run this. Let's see how we can have else statement in this case. Else print it is not warm, it is not hot today. You can choose what to wear. All right, so let's see what happens. So if we run again, this time, what happens is that since this condition is false, Python will not run this if this action inside the main if. It will run the else statement. So it will run this. It will print. It is not hot today. You can choose what you want to wear. Okay, let's try this with 30. What if the weather is indeed hot? Let's run this again. And this time we see that the first print is displayed. The weather is hot today because 30 is more than 26. So Python only runs this and it doesn't run the else statement. All right, let's make another code cell, and let's this time try the coffee example that we have multiple options. And let's also combine what we learned in the last video about getting input from the user. So let's say input, and our programs asks, please choose the coffee you want to drink, and let's assign this output to order, a variable. Now we call it order. So this is the order of the user. And let's say if order equals latte, then let's print making latte. And now we're gonna use the elif order equals cappuccino, let's say, if I write it correctly, and print making cappuccino. Now it's like this, and now the default else. So if the order is none of the latte or cappuccino, then we will enter the else statement, and let's say just bringing some water. So we will just give some water. All right, let's run this. So when we run this, you see that here is an input box popped up because Python stops here, pauses here in the input, and asks us, the user, to enter something. So we will enter, let's say, if we enter latte, and press enter, see what happened. So what happens is that the order that we gave was latte, and then here the if statement is true. So the condition in the if is true because we decided we wanted latte. So now this print, the first print, only the first print is executed, and we see making latte. I'm gonna rerun this, and this time give another, let's say, let's say cappuccino, just to see if our code works. Oh no, maybe I made a typo because it run this, which means that it didn't run this. So let me see let me run again and try cappuccino again. Cappuccino. All right, so this time I typed in correctly. So I typed in cappuccino. What happened is that the order is the string cappuccino. So Python comes here, checks this condition. Because this is false, it doesn't execute this. It goes to this elf statement. And because this is true, because we provided cappuccino, it ran this line, which is printing making cappuccino. I'm gonna run again, and this time I'm gonna provide anything other than latte or cappuccino. Python will run this. Let's say if I just do, I don't know, whatever, if I do tea or anything else, and then press enter, you will see we will have the else statement that will be run. All right, this was a very important lesson in programming. It's about making decisions, making conditional decisions. And we will use this all the time from now on. I'll see you in the next videos.